Let's talk about Shrek, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Welcome back to HIVEMIND Unlimited.
And welcome to another episode of our movie segment, How Did It Age? Where we watch older movies and reevaluate them with modern context. Today's movie is Shrek.
Yes, Shrek, the 2001 animated movie where Mike Myers plays a swampy ogre. And that's really all I know about it.
That's not all you know about it.
No,
You were
it's
rattling
not.
off facts to me, and a lot of them are very interesting, stuff I did not know.
Obviously, an amazingly successful movie. It made almost $500 million on a $60 million budget, which is just laughable for 2001. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wicked this weekend isn't going to make that much.
We don't know yet, though.
It's true. It does have Ariana Grande. It comes from the directorial visions of Adam Adamson and Vicky Jensen. They're not the most important people kind of on the production side of it. Jeffrey Katzenberg is, and I'll get into a little juice about him later. It stars Mike Myers. It has Eddie Murphy as the donkey. It has Cameron Diaz as Princess Fiona. It's got John Lithgow as Farquaad. Vincent Castle from my favorite movie ever, Lahane. It's in this as Monsieur Hood. It's kind of the Peter Pan character.
No, he's supposed to be Robin Hood.
Right. Yeah. I always...
They dress similar, but they're very different politically.
Peter Pan wants to be a boy forever, and Robin Hood is like a gangster.
Robin Hood is like kind of like a communist.
Oh, okay.
Anarchist, communist,
All right.
kind of liberal, hippie loser.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I went down a deep rabbit hole because I thought the voice of the Gingerbread Man was the same voice as Whitey Duvall from Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights because of the way he sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out Adam Sandler did all the voices in that movie pretty much, and that the Gingerbread Man is voiced by Conrad Vernon.
I don't know who that is.
No one really seems to, but like I said, massively successful movie. It's got a 7.9 on IMDb, an 88% on Rotten Teas, and a 4.1 on letterboxd.
Ooh, we don't usually do letterboxd averages on here, do we?
We've done them for about, I think, the last 4 episodes because I dropped Metacritic.
Okay.
I even made a big to-do about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I zone out. For usually the beginning, at least, I zone out because you've already told me all of it.
All good, man.
Mm-hmm.
All good.
And what did our guy Roger Ebert have to say about it?
Maybe our best rating from him yet. He gave it 4 out of 4 stars. Describes the movie in unbelievable detail, but my favorite quote from his review is, Shrek is an ugly ogre who's not as ugly as he thinks. He's a guy that we'd want as our friend.
Wow.
That's very nice.
That is sweet.
And he loved it, yeah. I loved it too. It's an unbelievable film.
Yeah, a film. I would describe it as a film.
Long time in the making. I think the rights for this book was purchased in 91. Production got batted around and bought by other people before DreamWorks was even a thing.
Yeah, and it's based on the book Zatlan the Beast, right?
Yeah.
Zatlan the Beast from Hell.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Spielberg ripped it out of his kid's hands and was like, hey, what's this? Let me make it into a movie.
Yeah.
And the voice of Shrek was Chris Farley.
Originally,
98% of it was done. David Spade's quoted as saying that he had 5 days left of work. He dies, unfortunately.
Yeah, his unfortunate passing.
Thank you. And then they bring on Mike Myers, who wants a total script rewrite in order to kind of honor Chris Farley. He doesn't want to just walk in his footsteps. Does it, and then does it again because when he sees an early edit of it, he's like, you know what? I should do the whole thing Scottish.
Yeah, they had to reanimate this entire film for the re-recording, which Mike Myers just insisted would be with a Scottish accent.
Yeah, and everybody on the team said it was well worth the $4 million that it cost to do that.
Wasn't it 2 more years of working on it because of it or something?
Yeah, I mean, this is a 12-year in the making movie, and it's amazing. And I think the most amazing thing that kind of happens in between there that ends up kind of giving this movie its edgier tone is that Jeffrey Katzenberg, who I mentioned earlier as being executive producer of this film, was a chairman at Disney for 10 years, from 84 to 94. And during his time there, worked on movies like Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Lion King. He brokered the deal with Pixar to get Toy Story greenlit. You name it, he was in charge of those quintessential animated movies, and got to a point inside of that business being the Walt Disney business, that he was so influential that it started to rub Roy Disney, the nephew, the surviving heir to the Disney throne. And Michael Eisner, the then CEO of Disney, kind of starts to rub people the wrong way because Katzenberg's walking around. I did that shit. He's flaunting and flopping his big animated cock around. And they don't like that. But he's so important that like he has this meeting with Michael Eisner where he's like, I should just be president of the company if I'm such a beast in this bitch. Roy Disney is like, no. Michael Eisner's like, okay, if the guy who's currently president vacates that position, you can have it. A promise. That guy, the president, dies in a helicopter accident, and Katzenberg walks in and is like, looks like it's time for me to be president. Roy Disney like, no. Michael Eisner, you take that job. Katzenberg leaves in like this big hubbub, and he sues them. They settle out of court for like $250 million, and then he teams up with like David Geffen and Spielberg to make DreamWorks. All that to say, this movie is like laced with all these like moments to Disney. There's all these Disney references with Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and Three Blind Mice and all these things. But most importantly, Lord Farquaad is supposedly based off of Michael Eisner as a person, as this short little mean, thinks he's entitled, can do whatever he wants. And I love that there's like animation beef going on here.
Yeah, and that his name is Lord Farquaad, which is like Lord Fuckwad.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the whole thing is just making fun of this guy. I love that there's a real guy behind.
Yeah.
It's not just like a parody of the prince you'd see in a Disney movie.
No.
It's like, no, this guy works for Disney. We're going to make it this whole thing making fun of him.
And I might have been reading into this a little too much, but even when John Lithgow's name appears like in the title sequence, the person who plays Lord Farquaad, it appears in maggots. Like they lift it up under a log and it's like squirming little worms. And I'm like, did he hate him so much that down to the detail of even the name, the guy who voices him is like worms?
Well, the whole intro is like,
I know, it's all
and
gross,
sludge
but
and, yeah.
Yeah, Katzenberg's got like a crazy story outside of all that beef. Feel free to read it. He's like a political influencer, super PACs. Obama and Clinton visited his house. Creepy stuff, but love the beef here.
Hey, had you seen this movie before?
I think I saw this bitch in theaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I saw it in theaters.
My mom got it and like brought it home and we all watched it. Like
Nice.
something like that. Yeah.
Blockbuster style.
Yeah, no theaters though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters.
Yeah, not me.
All right. Got it. Yeah. I think I probably saw it at $5 movie night.
Oh, yeah, not me. I saw it at home.
When your
and
mom brought it
I
home.
think it was free for me.
Oh.
Lucky me.
Yeah, I don't
But-
think I paid either. I was 7.
But you saw it at a theater?
Pretty sure I saw it in theaters.
I did not. I
got
didn't.
that. Yeah.
Now, before we get into our categories, best lines, best scenes, a recast, I did want to say I have some theories about what this movie is actually about that I wanted to run through really quick.
It's not just about friendship and being okay with who you is.
No. One, I think it's about gentrification.
Oh, come on. Not everything's about gentrification.
The swamp, and everybody's getting pushed into the swamp, and then he's like, oh, I like living here, get out of my swamp. That's part of it, but that gets confusing because it's like ogres and mice and shit. It's not like people. So, and then 2, capitalism pushing the homeless freaks into the streets. And I put that in quotes because I don't think that.
Okay.
And they're not even, and again, it's like mice and like a wooden doll that thinks it's a boy. Like, it's not really people, but I think that might be the message it's sending is like this big city being built out all for some lord's big plan. Some lords must feed his ego by building the city as big as he can.
Yeah.
And that pushes out all these people and the freaks into the woods, and they got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Number 3, body dysmorphia and unrealistic beauty standards.
Fire. That one I can kind of get behind.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. With
Because,
the green.
like, she thinks I have to be so beautiful. I'm a princess, but she's perfect just the way she is.
That's the one reason this movie couldn't come out today, because thick is ink. Thick is ink. It's like in. Being thick is okay now, more so than it was in 2001. She doesn't even turn into that much of a beast. She just kind of gets a little on her, you know what I mean? At night, she gets a little thick. That's all I'm trying to say, and that's okay.
And number 4,
Yeah.
how hot girls look without makeup. I was thinking about that when I was watching, and I think that's a big part of it, okay? Because during the day, beautiful princess. At night, the sun goes down. You know what I mean? It's about getting in that serious relationship and realizing she's not that pretty all the time, but you learn to love her anyway.
You couldn't even take yourself seriously.
No,
I really think
yeah.
it is just like this, like a revenge thing, because I think Dorlock or whatever, Duloc, the whole
Duloc is a place.
Yeah, Duloc's the whole place, but it's like an amusement park. It feels like he's directly making fun of Disneyland. And
Oh yeah, it's probably about movies. It's probably like, look at big Disney pushing us out into the woods to make indie films.
yeah. And then let's take up all their old characters and just turn them into nasty little freaks.
I guess I never really thought about it that way because I did think it was weird how minimally all of these fairy tale creatures are featured in the movie.
Yeah.
And culturally, they held so much weight. Like when we went to Shrek Rave, there were people dressed as the three blind mice.
Yeah.
You know, Gingy, there's a magic mirror. All of those are very minor characters and almost like rarely explored.
In the original.
Yeah. There's more movies.
Yes.
And so they get more personality, more screen time.
Yes.
But at the same time, I always just thought of this as like the brilliant thing about it is that it does combine all of these nursery rhyme, old storybook, fairy tale things that we all kind of know enough about that it gets to just play with them and not establish why they're there.
Yeah, and I think that's what obviously set it up to be such a successful franchise, because even in the spin-offs, the Puss in Boots stuff, like you get to, they always exist in this world where there will always be 500 other familiar characters. So whenever you choose to chime in, it's not like a massive barrier of entry. Really, the only new thing is like there's a Scottish ogre, as long as you can wrap your mind around that.
And then Puss in Boots, they had to, and Donkey. Like those, like the main characters they do have to establish, but that's fine because that's what the whole story is about.
Right.
But like the three blind mice doesn't have to explain that they're blind, why they're there. Pinocchio, like the first line is like him being sold, you know, for 5 shillings. It's like we all know those stories, so it works.
And Puss in Boots' character is just Zorro as a cat.
Yeah, totally.
So we all know him too.
Yeah.
It's literally Antonio Banderas too. They were like, let's take your old character Zorro that you did and just make him a cat.
And call him Puss.
Yeah, you're a puss now, Antonio. Congratulations, you made it. I will say I was a little surprised by how like little lines I loved from it.
I think I loved every line that Eddie Murphy says as Donkey pretty much. But like there were a few that I picked up on, just I haven't watched it in a long time.
Neither have
I was basically a kid. And so there were some lines that I didn't quite get or like pay attention to. And I wrote those down.
Yeah.
But all of those like iconic lines I've heard so many times that I didn't even write them down because it's like.
Yeah, and it's not really like a punchline comedy like that. Like it is really like a tale. The humor exists more in like the animation and kind of this relationship between Donkey and Shrek, but like it's not like a bunch of crazy lines. There's like wit throughout it.
It's good banter, and they do have those things that like ogres are like onions, they have layers. That stuck around, and people say that. But when I watch it back, I'm not like, oh wow, what a great line. I just heard it so much, it's kind of become like a numb thing to me, but that like stuck out when you first saw it.
Yeah, totally.
Here are the ones that I did write down. Shrek addressing all the creatures in the woods, and he says, "Attention all fairy tale things." I love the way he hesitates during that, because I turned to you and I was like, he's an ogre.
Yeah.
Like he's like
you fairy tale things.
It's like he's read the books about all of them too, you know? It's very like aware of what he's doing.
There's also like when Donkey first meets Shrek, he pointed it out to me, he yells in his face and he's like, oh, maybe you need a Tic Tac or something, but other than that, you're not scary. This world is like adjacent to the modern real world. He knows what Tic Tacs are, and they're like singing modern songs and like referencing.
Donkey's like on the road again. I'm like,
singing a Willie Nelson song. He later does the "Try a Little Tenderness" bar, which is like one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. Yeah, it's very strange, but that adds to like the cheekiness of it. It's like, yeah, it's fairy tale, but like.
It's not taking itself seriously.
Yeah, we'll break it when we need to.
I did love the Magic Mirror being like a dating show host and talking about all the contestants. And when he talks about Cinderella, he's like, she's a mentally abused shut-in.
Those lines are all really good.
I like never noticed that because just as a kid, like doesn't stick out to you, but it's so funny.
Yeah, it's like a direct parody of like a 60s dating show.
Yep.
And like literally then they would probably say the same thing about one of the contestants.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's a pill-popping little homebody, but she's got a sweet side, and boy, is her roast good.
She loves to drink pina coladas. She does live with 7 men, but she's not easy. They say that about Snow White.
Oh, my God. The first scene where you get Farquaad interacting with gingerbread man. The lines that the gingerbread man says are just hilarious. He goes, "Eat me!"
Yeah.
Spits in his face, and then the buttons, the iconic, not the buttons, not
Gumdrop buttons.
yeah. And like when he first walks in, you see just the silhouette, the shadow of the gingerbread man being dunked in milk. He's being milk boarded.
Milk boarded
Yeah.
is such a funny idea.
It's hilarious.
And I love that the Muffin Man thing is actually so clever.
Yeah, it's like real.
Because they're not doing it like sing-songing. He's
No.
like, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" And then he's like, "The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man!" Like it's like it's singing the
Lives on
song.
Drury Lane.
He lives on Drury Lane. The conversation is that song,
Yeah.
which is just so stupid. Like
It's hilarious.
it's so funny.
Farquaad gives us probably my favorite line in the whole movie upon rewatch. One I didn't like really stick with me when I was a kid. It's during his wedding with Fiona, and Shrek barges in, and Farquaad goes, "It's rude enough being alive when no one wants you, but showing up uninvited to a wedding?" It's just hilarious because he's like, "It's rude that you're alive."
Yeah. The way that he talks about
Yeah.
him is like they amp up the dismissiveness of the handsome character
Yeah.
in like a Disney movie to like 12.
Yes.
Like the way he talks about Shrek is not even like, he doesn't even have like the doubt in his mind that anybody likes him.
Right.
Like he has such a weird way of talking about him where he's like, he's not even nervous that he's saying something mean.
Yeah, it establishes this thing that is like, I guess maybe I'm not the most familiar with fairy tales, but like, it's like, oh, the ogre in fairy tales is like the thing everyone wants dead. It's like the most disgusting, most vile swamp dwelling beast that like is
Except
always
for women.
What?
Except for women.
What? Like the woman ogre?
No.
Oh,
Like in fairy tales, you said like the thing everybody wants dead the most. It's women for sure.
Oh,
But beyond that, yeah,
Ogres.
ogres is right there.
top of the list after.
Yep, number 2 on
It
there.
like, yeah, it does a good job of establishing that with his lines that you're like, oh yeah, ogres are supposed to be killed. Like that's a problem. It's a pest.
My favorite Donkey line upon rewatch is when Donkey's freaking out about the arrow in Shrek's butt.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Shrek's gonna die." Like he jumps straight from like Fiona's like, "Shrek's hurt," and he's like, "Shrek's gonna die." He goes, "I'm too young for you to die. Does anyone know the Heimlich?"
As if that'll get the arrow out of his ass.
He has an arrow in his butt, and he says, "Does anyone know the Heimlich?"
I love when Shrek is like being coy about the the growing romance between him and Fiona, and Donkey says, "Oh, I'm an animal. I got instincts, and I can tell she digging on you." I'm an animal and I have instincts, so I can tell, Shrek. Don't worry.
I know we already talked about
Yeah.
it, but the line, it's just crazy. He's like, "Do you love this woman?" Yes.
Yes.
"Do you want to hold her?"
Yes.
"Please her?"
Yes.
"Then you got to know a little tenderness." It's so good.
I also love right when they rescue her, she's like, "Everyone has her noble steed." And he's sitting there and he go, "She think I'm a steed, Shrek." She think I'm a steed.
She called me a steed.
Eddie Murphy's delivery is just, it's unbelievable.
I said I think it might be top 5 voice acting performance of all time.
Yeah, it's really, really, it's just so quick. He's like, they just give him the runway to pitch 200 miles an hour down the middle.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that. I was like, there's no way that this wasn't mostly improv.
Yeah.
Like he had an outline, but you can tell he's doing whatever he wants to
Yeah.
do and it all works. It's like he was meant to do
Yeah,
this, which is so funny
It
because I was
is
thinking
funny.
about it. I was like, when he read for this, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a donkey in a fairy tale movie
Yeah.
about an ogre." It doesn't sound right without knowing how
Yeah.
well Shrek did.
Right, but he also saw Steven Spielberg's name attached and was like, all right, if it's his company, I'm in.
Yeah.
Tell me whatever, Steven.
The last line I have from Eddie Murphy as Donkey is at the end when he just says, "Oh, celebrity marriages, they never last, do they?" Right after they've like been married for 1 second and Farquaad gets eaten.
Oh, I love when they're like walking to the dragon's lair where Fiona's at, and Shrek is just getting so fed up with Donkey, and he's like, "You dense, irritating beast of burden."
Yeah.
It's like really like it's intellectual for Shrek to like combine all those words together, but
Right.
it's also really cutting, and those are like his smartest moments
Uh-huh.
when he's like fueled with anger or like trying to tell someone off. That's his home base. You can tell he's been angry for a long time and needs the touch of a woman.
not to skip to scenes, but there's a line that I have to talk about. I did not remember this Monsieur Hood song.
Yeah.
Like I did not remember it. And I love that Fiona's reaction to it after she like kicks his ass and is about to like kick his whole crew's ass. She just goes, God, that was annoying.
Yeah, it's like just annoyed by the song.
Yeah, because I thought that too.
Yeah.
Like while I was watching it, I was like, this is kind of annoying.
It's like quick, it's rappy. He's got like a dance sequence
He
in it.
just break it down at one point, and then like the beat gets like a little groovier. I was like, what?
He's a very like Lord of the Dance, which like I feel like was super popular in the early 2000s, where it's like the little Irish jig thing, you know, but they like mix it with like rap and rock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is terribly corny. It's good. There are 36 independently different scenes in this, which at the time was the most ever for a computer animated movie.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the amount of traveling they had to do, especially with such a big cast.
Right.
That was one thing I thought about. I was like, wow, they go so many places.
A lot of drugs on the bus.
I bet. I mean, all the DVD commentary, it seems like
everybody's
there's
high.
a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, for sure.
Watch the DVD extras from this. It's a good time.
Great time. I was surprised by how many euphemisms. I guess not surprised. I knew there would be, but watching it as an adult, you pick up on all that stuff.
Sure.
And like most of them are about Farquaad's tiny little wiener.
Yeah.
And saying that he's compensating for stuff.
Right.
But I mean, there are some that are like sex and just vulgarity and even there's some implied cursing as well.
Yep. With the wipe your ass.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Wipe your something. Yeah.
It was a big to-do in the beginning of production that I think it was like Katzenberg and the initial DreamWorks team really wanted to emphasize the adult humor and it being applicable to a wider audience than just kids. And then there was pushback. Some people think like even Spielberg specifically, who took the book from his kids, like really wanted this to just be a nice fairy tale, book closed, book opens kind of movie. And if it was done well enough, it would apply to anyone. And I'm really glad that they ended up going this way. And it is big credit to it being 23 years old and like choosing to do more of the adult humor and euphemisms then. And it's still being funny now.
Yeah.
I feel like adult humor in 2001 was like, nice tits.
I will say it starts with a lot of that stuff. Like there is a lot of like poop and fart and burp humor in this that like at the beginning I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this is like kind of for kids, you know, like this is not funny to me, but it works in a few of those things and it doesn't go like crazy. I think they say ass and jackass. I don't think they like really curse beyond that, but that was what I was going to say is a lot of those jokes, they did too many donkey ass jokes.
Yeah, but the donkey, I don't know if you don't know this, or if you do, here you go. Viewer at home.
Right.
You can call a donkey an ass. It's like an alternative.
It's not nice though.
It's an alternative name for it. It's like calling a female dog a bitch.
Yeah, I just was like, how many do we need? You know, he's like, I gotta go save my ass.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you jackass.
I think he only got like 5 maybe though.
It's too many.
Well, sorry about that, man. I love the initial like ogre hunt scene. Like as the opening credits are going away, I think it sets everything up perfect. That like the townspeople are out like rounding up all the fairy tale creatures and the toughest guys in town go out to get Shrek. He's hanging up his don't enter sign and then he sneaks up behind him and does his whole little speech. And I love that he is held up on they're like, he's gonna grind our bones into bread. And he's like, actually, that'd be giants. Right. He like doesn't like that they're misconstruing what he does because what he does is like more sloppy and he goes into explaining. He'll wring their livers of their juice and get their eyeball gunk and fist them and stuff like that.
He's gonna get the jelly out of their eyeballs and he goes, it's actually pretty good on toast.
Yeah.
I can't do Scottish.
That's okay, man. No one wants you to. But yeah, love the opening scene there. And then the introduction to the gingerbread man is just, like I said, that's got to be one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
One thing I never picked up on when I watched it as a kid is Donkey navigating a situationship with the dragon.
Yeah, and as a child, I was always just like, oh, they're in love.
Oh yeah, no, he's like setting boundaries. He's like, let's not move too fast. Like, you know, he's like, how do I tell her that I like her, but I don't want to be committed. You know?
He says, theoretically, if a chick's digging you and you're not really all the way into it, how do you do it without her burning you into a fiery little crisp? He's
like unwanted physical contact. He's like setting boundaries. It's actually a very like it's a cool dynamic to work into this very strange physical relationship between a massive female dragon and a tiny little donkey.
It's awesome. And then in the last singing sequence, he's like fully in.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm in love. And he rubs his little head on her cheek, which is just so sweet. The love between a giant, fantastical lizard and a donkey. One of my favorite scenes as a kid was the initial beer fighting scene when Shrek like gets the quest from Farquaad. And I love the animation of the beer flowing out of the big barrel for whatever. I've always loved that. And then he kind of ice skates with one of the axes and slap shots a knight's legs out from under him, slips into the wrestling ring, and then just proceeds to have like a WWE fight where Donkey like gets tapped in and he's like cheering the crowd on, which is funny. The same year as Gladiator. If it came out 2 years later, he would have said, "Are you not entertained?"
Or he'd probably say, "Are you not Shrek-tertained?" He probably would have done that.
Yeah, he would have done that. Animation wise, I just always loved that scene for whatever. It just has it's very dynamic and it's such a fun like fight scene. Like it's an true action sequence, but it's just like WWE animated.
Yeah, as for the animation, I did think it looked better in like slow scenes than I thought.
Yeah.
It definitely looked old though in like some of the faces and the way like they talk and stuff. I kind of was like, oh, yeah, this was still, they were still getting used to that. Like Fiona specifically as a human more than an ogre, it looked very like not quite right.
Yeah, and all like the male human faces are like some of my favorite, like expression wise, almost because of that.
Right.
Because it looks a little like, oh, what the fuck is, like it looks like fucked up. Like when they show like a townsperson be like, I'm like, why does it look like that?
Yeah, they picked good shapes for the faces and stuff, but when they went to do like a pretty female face, it felt like when she was talking, it just was like something was up with like her mouth.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
And then, all the slow-mo scenes are really strange, but like I thought I was going to go in this being like the thing that aged the worst is the animation and these choices that they decided to do. And they were like some of the funniest moments to me.
Yeah, totally. I think some of the physical comedy doesn't translate as well. It's a little like clunky and awkward because of the animation at the time. But really, that's like my only qualm with the animation overall. I think it definitely feels like the time that it came out, but not in a bad way. It's still very watchable now.
Before you get into ruining my childhood and everyone else's too, I want to say that my favorite scene or just sequence of scenes is Shrek and Fiona like starting to fall in love. Shrek realizing that she's not this perfect little princess. It goes into the music scene or like a music montage rather, and Fiona takes the spider web and nets all the gnats and makes Shrek this fucked up cotton candy of bugs and spider webs. And then they blow each other's dicks. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They blow animal balloons, like real animal balloons. He takes a bullfrog and she takes a little snake. And then they're like walking with little animatronic balloons, cocks are sucking each other's cocks. That sequence was really nice, man. Fuck. God damn it. That was animal balloons is fucking hard for me to say, dog.
I think you're fine. It's okay.
Damn it.
Unfortunately, it's not all flowers and sunshine for me. There are some criticisms that I have of the movie. One, Shrek does not pass the Bechdel test. And even worse, Beck does not pass the Schrectal test.
Wait, how?
Beck, the musician, doesn't pass the Schrectal test.
Because he's not in the movie?
There's 0 lyrics about Shrek throughout his whole career. I looked it up. Also, there's no black characters in the movie, which is not cool.
There's like, yeah, you're right.
What were you gonna say?
Eddie Murphy's the donkey.
That's a voice actor. I'm saying I'm sure
he's definitely like a black donkey though.
I'm saying there are no black characters. It's all white people in these fairy tale kingdom, and I think that's on purpose to make a point.
Oh shit!
About how it's like evil.
Well, Katzenberg's definitely a Jew.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I'm saying like.
So you're saying he did it on purpose because he's an evil Jew?
No. Oh, wow.
I don't want to get it mixed up. What are you saying?
I'm saying that he is criticizing Disney. So he makes the entire kingdom all white people to be like.
Oh, that's a heady move.
Because all the other characters, the likable characters in this movie, none of them are human, at least not fully, because Fiona's mixed.
Yeah. She's half green.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought about all the racial implications here. You really brought that to light for me.
But other than that, I loved this movie and I just didn't want it to be ogre.
I love before Shrek breaks into the royal wedding at the end, there's a person with cue cards telling the crowd, not just like quiet or applause, it says like reverence. And people are like, "Aw." Yeah. And then it's like revered silence. And then like later, once Farquaad like insults the ogre or says that line that we mentioned earlier.
The ogre has a name.
Yeah. Huh?
You said insults the ogre.
Yeah,
the ogre has a name.
He insults Shrek, the big green disgusting beast.
Oh.
The cue card guy pulls it over and says laugh, and everybody in the crowd laughs. It's like just funny, like showbiz, directing the audience on exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I definitely never noticed that as a kid and was like, or appreciated it as a kid.
Yeah. Also, this wedding was planned in a day and they already got cue cards and it was like perfect and like my literal ideal wedding.
How would they have had sex because he's so short?
These are questions that all get answered in Shrek 3.
And oh god, we should have watched some Shrek porn for this. Did they give Shrek a human dick?
No.
Or is it like a
I don't know. You can do that on your own time.
You don't want to do that with me, man?
I said it'd probably be animated.
You're a stupid motherfucker. This was animated?
No, I mean partially for sure. There's no ogres and shit, but like the people were real, I'm pretty sure. And the dragon.
Could they do a real, like a live action version?
They've done Shrek the musical, you dum-dum.
Yeah, but you can't just film that and release it as a movie.
They did do that.
Oh, shit.
I could be a hero with sword and armor clashing, looking semi-dashing, shield within my grip.
These motherfuckers are rich.
Who?
The people behind this movie.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
There's
the Shrek executives.
There's a whole section on the Shrek executives page.
The executives.
Yeah, and the there's a whole thing on Katzenberg's page about his political influence. These guys are so rich off of Shrek that they have say in the elections. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And if they did a live action version, Donald Trump would make a good Shrek.
I don't think he'd be very good in theater because all he knows how to do is act like an asshole.
Tell them, kid. Got him. Yeah, I said nope to if it would be different today.
Yeah, no.
They're
still making them too.
Yeah, it's great.
They did like Shrek 5 Ever After.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I got Gerard Butler as Shrek, should be Scottish. Don't know why they picked an American guy. Number 2, I got Jennifer Coolidge as Fiona.
Whoa.
Because I think that would just be fun.
That is fun.
Oh, I don't know if Shrek likes me. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a talking donkey. That's so cute.
I love eating these sewer rats.
I don't think I want to be a human anymore. I think I'll just be an ogre with Shrek.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down Charlie Day is the only other person I could see as Donkey, but Eddie Murphy might have had a top 5 voice acting performance ever right here.
I somehow pictured John Mulaney as my donkey because I think he could do the quippy, quick, like annoying character.
Yeah.
It was like 15 minutes in. I was like, Mulaney could kind of do a donkey thing. If
I
he
could
was
see him doing that.
kind of just sassy and irritating the whole time because that's kind of how we see him anyway.
I will say, though, now that he's sober, people have said that he's lost kind of his peaks and valleys. He's a little more straight down the middle. He's not as, like, zany as he once was.
Yeah, well, we can get him all fucked up for the movie.
Okay, yeah, one last ride for Mulaney. I'm joking, John.
Just kidding, John. I have Rachel Sonata as the princess because she's pretty. Whatever.
It doesn't be in it. You just be a voice in it. She just be a voice in it.
Chris Pratt as Shrek.
Ugh.
I'm imagining this is a bad movie.
Oh,
You
yeah.
to know that.
Uh-huh. Could he do Italian? Chris Pratt.
No, he kind of does accents already.
That's what I'm saying. He's Italian.
No, he's not.
No, he is.
He's Scottish for this.
For this?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I don't know how he is at Scottish, but he's really good at Italian.
And then I have Paul Rudd as Lord Farquaad.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So I could just kind of see that.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
I think it's good, man.
Whatever.
I think it's really good.
Gerard Butler. You couldn't name one movie he's in.
Wrong. He was in the one where he was the husband that died and he's still writing his wife letters.
Oh, Lake House?
300. That's the one that he's in.
Fuck yeah.
I think I did Google Scottish actors.
I know, I did too.
James McAvoy.
Yeah.
That's another one.
And the movie he was just in sucked dick, so
And
I wouldn't want him.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, we all love him.
Conor McGregor as well.
Conor McGregor's wife, Ewan.
Ewan McGregor. That's what I said when I found out you went out on the town with the MMA fighter. I said Ewan McGregor. went out?
He's Irish.
Yeah, Irish. Fuck, dude. Let me do another take.
No.
Another take.
We got to get into
Please.
soundtrack.
Please, can I get another take?
And
Please?
soundtrack. Absolutely historic soundtrack here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the greatest all time.
No.
Second greatest
I don't even think it's like the best that we've done for How Did It Age?
for animated movies.
Oh, well, you didn't say that.
Oh,
I'd have to think about it.
yeah, because obviously the Disney classics. I know the Disney freaks.
Oh, Tarzan.
Tarzan, Phil Collins, great.
Yeah.
But I mean that Disney shit. I love this as like the counter to the classic Disney movie with written songs because that sits in its own musical lane that I don't even care to get involved in.
Yeah, like Elton John doing stuff for Lion King.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah.
I love the intertwining of classics in this soundtrack, and the actual score is great, and it was recorded at Abbey Road Studio, which is awesome.
Right.
Big time budget. But then just like weaving in Try a Little Tenderness, On the Road Again, All Star, I'm like all this fun stuff makes it like really makes the tone of what I think Shrek like carved out and why it's so big now.
Yeah, and I said to you while we were watching the opening scene, I was like, there had to be screen tests where it's playing All Star by Smash Mouth, and people are like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a big song.
It's risky. But it does feel weird when you're watching it.
Yeah.
And I think it was a risk legitimately because it's either going to stand out. Like everybody associates this movie with that song and that song with this movie. Like they are a thing culturally. But it doesn't really make sense if you think about any other animated movie. Like the tone of that song, it's like it shouldn't be in a movie.
Yeah, but he's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Right. And he was looking kind of dumb with his finger and his thumb in the shape of an L on his forehead.
Right.
But this is a song that just demands a lot of attention in a kind of a corny way that I love. But I'm saying like, it doesn't feel like a mood setter for anything.
Yeah, it's awesome how it ended up working out. They're supposed to be flipped. There's like a credit song that's not I'm a Believer that plays if you watch the credits. That was supposed to be in the beginning, and then they like flipped them. Crazy choice. Also, a song that's really synonymous for this film with me is like I had the soundtrack CD, which I'm sure you did. Everyone had that.
Didn't have it.
And I would listen to Hallelujah performed by Rufus Wainwright on the soundtrack CD. But in the movie, I'm reading before we watched it, and they're like, oh, the version used in the movie is the John Cale version.
Yeah, so Rufus Wainwright recorded his version of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah.
Yes.
For this film.
Yes.
And then they didn't put it in the film, but put it on the soundtrack. And you told me.
Yeah. And in a radio interview afterwards, Rufus Wainwright was like, yeah, they made that decision because I keep butting heads with the glass ceiling due to my sexuality. And I was like, what? Rufus Wainwright was too gay to be in the movie?
Yeah, they were like, we can't have a gay Hallelujah in Shrek.
Which is, what?
It was 2001.
Yeah, what?
I know. I'm just imagining, like, what did it sound like where they were like, too gay?
Well, I had the soundtrack, and like Rufus Wainwright's version of that song is the one, like if you're under 30, is like the one you know.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that got really popular. It like charted high after this. And like that's the one you'd play, and that's the one like you'd learn on piano or on guitar. Like everyone's familiar with that version, to the point where when I heard the Cale version in the movie today, I was like, it felt weird. I was like,
this version isn't even that good.
I was like, this one can't be the one.
No, it's not. That's what I mean is like, I thought the same thing when I was watching. I was kind of like, this version kind of sucks compared to, I mean, it's such an amazing song. Like I'll listen to anybody do it, specifically Josh Groban. Like, God, I bet he would do it really good. I just kind of dreamt that up. Or Third Eye Blind.
Jeff Buckley was the one who made it really big. He did the Cale arrangement of it. And that like went #1, I think. I heard there was a secret chord that David played, and he pleased the Lord with top, and you won't even give me top. Now will you? Do you want to?
What?
Oh, hell yeah.
That was not.
John Cale, a founding member of Velvet Underground.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Welsh heroin addict.
And John Cale, when I eat that vegetable that scratches my throat up a little bit while I'm on the toilet. John Cale.
Great job on the soundtrack, Shrek team.
Great job, Shrek. I'm a Believer gets me every time. I have to say that before we exit this section.
Yeah.
just Eddie Murphy singing it the way that he sings it.
He's a great singer.
Oh, I mean, he's a fantastic singer.
Yeah.
But like just how theatrical it is, how much it fits with Donkey, the character,
Yes.
to sing it this way, that it's like at the wedding reception with
Right.
all of the fairy tale characters who they have spent a total of 10 minutes with. Don't know how that's all their best friends after the wedding. It's
Yeah.
hilarious to me. But whatever.
Shrek didn't have friends before.
I know, and neither did Donkey. Donkey said he didn't have any friends at the beginning of the movie. I was like, who are these people? Who are these beings? You said that song was written by Neil Diamond, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that till today either, sadly. That's just a Neil Diamond song performed by Smash Mouth, which is great. Also, that ending was like an add-on. Spielberg wanted just they got married, she's the ogre forever, fade to book closing.
Oh yeah, didn't they screen it without it and then they added it in?
They added it in, which like, again, really like hammers home this like unique tone to this movie, that it's like a little music video at the end with like your characters performing it. That is like, it's very anti-Disney. Disney would never end a movie with like a rock song like
it's
that.
so funny that it is a rock song because it's not, you can tell it's not written all the way like a rock song.
Yeah.
It's like, say that love was only true in fairy tales. Like it just has a little edge, like rock edge to it, that it's like, you can tell it's a cover.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. A lot of decisions were made that were good.
Yeah, I thought as well. Shrek, yeah, I would.
That's like a fuck yeah?
No, heck.
Oh, like a heck yeah.
Yeah. Shrek, yeah.
Okay.
And you?
Yep. All right. Mine's not funny, so I'll go first. I gave it 4 stars, and I said maybe it's the greatest animated romance of all time. And I was staying on that business.
I'm
bitch.
surprised that you think that, just based on all the VR stuff you're into. I gave it 4 stars and said doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but still good, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great review. Can you read it one more time?
Sure. You just didn't hear me?
Yeah, I just wanted to get it.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to turn and look at it and read it.
Let's get a good take. Yeah.
Let's get a good
Just
take.
make sure you read it.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm going to make sure. I'm going to look
Right.
at it and make sure that I read it.
Don't worry about anything
And I'll
else.
make
in the
sure
room.
that you hear me this time.
All
Okay.
right.
I gave it 4 stars and I said doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but still good, I guess.
Nice, man.
More like Schrechdel test. 2 female characters do not have a conversation not about a man during this movie, even once.
Boo. That was me
Yeah.
sucking a big cock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were there 2 conversations between 2 men, not about a man?
I'd have to rewatch it. I don't know. Is there a name for that test? Because I could run it through that. I just Googled, does it pass the Schrechdel test? I was like, it didn't know what that was. So I said Bechdel test after that. And then it said, no. The Bechdel test for me during high school was in tennis. The Bechdel boys were the best at our school. So if you could beat them, that's passing the Bechdel test for us. If you could
Now
beat
that's
them,
changed meanings.
yeah, now it means something about feminism. But before, for me, it meant, are you good at tennis? If you're really good, you got to pass the Bechdel test.
Hell yeah, man. That was our thoughts and opinions and emotional outbursts and laments about Shrek.
Yeah, that's How Did It Age about Shrek. How did Shrek age? Pretty good according to us. How did it age to you? Let us know downstairs. Also, join our Patreon, only $5 a month, and you get to know what movie we're watching for this series a week ahead of time. That way you can watch the movie, then you can watch this, and then we'll be on the same page. It'll be almost like we're talking to you through the screen.
It'd be like a movie club.
It's like that. And also, it's $5 for the Patreon if you just want extra content and stuff, or you want to support the channel, or become a member on the main channel by clicking the join button. HIVEMIND.
Love y'all.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. And then I saw her face. And she's out of her mind. Here's Bruce Springsteen singing that song. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. And then Bob Dylan, probably.
It's your impression list, man.
I know, but
I'm not here to toss out
actually,
ideas.
you're impressionless because you haven't done one yet.
I'll do you singing it.
Okay.
I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
That was actually just me singing.